Hi friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge, and today we're taking a look at two knives by Kubey. Why am I doing two knives in one video? Well, they've got a lot of similarities in some ways, in build quality and all kinds of things like that. And I'm way behind on my videos, and so I'm going to try to keep this video under 20 minutes and cover two knives at the same time. Both are fixed blades, so if you're not into fixed blades, check out my channel for something else. But if you're into fixed blades, I'm going to take a look at both of these and get ready to watch a video on a couple of fixed blade knives from Kubey. If you're interested in just one of these knives, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do two separate reviews and just mash them one after the other. I'm going to intertwine both of these videos, so you're going to have to watch everything. This is the KU166. This is the KU184. Neither of these are listed at kubeyknife.com anymore. Maybe I waited too long to review this. This summer and then this fall has been just hard on me, and I've been way behind, and I'm trying to catch up. But the Kubey International website, which I think is Global Knife, I'll put the link on the screen right here and down below. They still have these. Amazon.com has these. Amazon.ca has at least this one, and this one's listed as unavailable. So there are ways to get these, and there's links down below, and I'll tell you about the prices and everything in a little while. This one's a little bit more economical than this one. They both have these lanyards tied on the back. They are both D2 steel. They both have G10 handle scales. And, so they're very similar. We've got stonewash all over this one. We've got a stonewash all over this one with a black wash on the flats up here. Very similar in a lot of ways. This guy is a neck knife or a belt knife. It didn't come with this cordage, but it comes with this sheath and locks into place, holds it right there. This is Kydex sheath for the other one too. But this one also has a belt loop that you can either screw into place here, or you can screw it into place here. So you can carry it, a number of different ways, however you want to carry it. I prefer it as a neck knife myself. But of course, this belt loop is very efficient as well. And this is Kydex too. So that's a good thing. The Kydex sheath for the KU184 is also a friction held sheath, really good snap on it. And what you hear is this thing's flying around, not the knife itself. Holds very, very well, nice and tight in there. And then it's got this type of belt loop, big button back here, sort of tech lock-ish, and adapters here so that you can adjust how wide your belt is so that it doesn't swing loose on your belt either. Of all the tech lock-ish type ones, I like this the best, with a significant button here that you've got to press fairly hard before this can open up. So it has a very good hold. You can have it traditionally held vertically on your belt. You can turn this around and have a scout carry. And, so it's a lot of different ways that you can carry this. I prefer knives. I don't prefer knives being held on a belt right here. I prefer if the belt is, up here so that the knife hangs lower on my waist. That being said, that kind of attachment could be made, like something like this could be made if you've got the skills, and then, the belt could hang something like that. I mean, the knife could hang on a belt, something like that. Be that an option, be that as it may, these are well-made sheaths. They are sturdy. They hold well. There's drain holes here in case moisture gets in there. There's a drain hole in this one as well. So well-made sheaths that I like. They hold the knife very sturdily, and there's not a lot of noise when those knives shake around. If you want to shake them around, that is. So like I said, D2 on both of these and everything. So let's just talk a little bit about this one for a little while, and I'll give you the dimensions of the KU166 first. We've got a blade length of, and that's also the cutting edge length, the way I'm measuring it, the blade length this way and the cutting edge length, 6.6 centimeters, 2.6 inches. The thickness is 3.5 millimeters, which is 0.138 inches, right around just under an eighth of an inch, just barely under an eighth of an inch. The blade depth measured right here is 4.5 centimeters, 1.8 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind right there, very good, 0.39 millimeters. That's 0.0155. D2 can handle being that thin, so that's really good. And the grind angle, 23.5, 23.7, so very consistent grind angles on there, although I prefer 20-degree angle a bit better. The sharpness from the factory is 135. That's 135 grams of pressure to cut through a monofilament of a standardized sharpness testing apparatus that I own. About the handle length is 4.5 centimeters. Nope. Handle length is 9.4 centimeters, 3.7 inches. The handle thickness is Bandit. No. Bandit. No. I got to pause for a second. I do my recording in the basement partly so that Bandit can't hear things outside, but the slightest sound and he thinks he's a guard dog. I was talking about the handle thickness, I believe. Handle thickness, 1.3 centimeters. That's 0.51 of an inch, so half an inch thick. Great. The handle depth, and I think I measured it right here. That is 4.1 centimeters, 1.6 inches. The grip area, like this here, is 8.6 centimeters, 3.4 inches. The total length of this knife, not counting the lanyard, of course, is, where am I? 15.6 centimeters, 6.2 inches. The weight is 99 grams, 3.55 ounces. And when you add the sheath and everything, it's 125 grams, 4.4 ounces. Now, this knife, talking about the specs on it, we've got a drop point blade here, and the cutting edge is 9.9 centimeters, 3.9 inches. Blade length, tip to the G10, 10.4 centimeters, 4.1 inches. The blade thickness, 4.5 millimeters. That's 0.18 of an inch. That's like 3/16 of an inch. Good sturdy blade. The blade depth, 3.2 centimeters, 1.25 inches. The thickness of the edge behind the grind, 0.64 millimeters, which is 0.025 of an inch. A little thicker than I prefer, but not terrible. The grind angle on this guy is 23.0 on this side and 25.2 on that side, and it's fairly consistent throughout, so that's a good thing. The handle length is 11.9 centimeters, 4.7 inches. The handle thickness is 1.5 centimeters, 0.59 of an inch, so it fills the hand quite well. But my wife even says this is comfortable in her hands, so not a problem at all. She's got medium women's hands. The handle depth is 2.8 centimeters, 1.1 inch. And the grip area is about 10 centimeters, right around 4 inches, just under 4 inches. The total length of this knife to the end of the handle right here, 22.4 centimeters, 8.8 inches. I didn't talk about the factory edge. This guy is sharp. 85 grams of pressure. 200 grams of pressure is the standard, according to the company that makes the equipment that I test with, for a knife to be called a sharp knife. This is only 85 grams of pressure. 85, under 100 grams of pressure to cut through that material is very uncommon. So they sharpen this knife very, very well. It's got a very consistent edge. The weight of it is 175 grams, 6.15 ounces. And when you add the sheath, 275 grams, 9.65 ounces. So there's all the specs. Oh, I forgot to put this out for you guys. Sorry about that. I'm not going to redo all that. I just don't have the mental fortitude to redo it all again. It would drive me crazy. Let's talk about particular things that I like about this knife. On both of them, they've got the metal of the blade coming out as the lanyard hole. So it's narrow. So the thickness of the lanyard, is more narrow than the handle. And that's true on both of them. So I really like that. If you take the lanyard off, you've got a little bit of a point here. It's sort of rounded. So you could use the sort of pommel end as a pressure point to apply pressure if you wanted to, or to break things up or whatever you have. So that's a good thing. Both of these have jimping of sorts along the spine. Oh, this one's got long jimping all the way along. And this one's got just a short set of jimping, but it's got a decorative effect going down the sides of the knife right there. Adds a little bit extra grip, which I really like. Other than that, there's no jimping. Great big first choil for your finger right there. My hands are between large and extra large for men's, and it's very comfortable in there. Even larger hands, fingers will find a lot of comfort in here. This guy, there's a huge hole here. You could have much bigger fingers to fit your finger in there. And, then these other choils, it's basically just for those two fingers, and your pinky's going to be off the end. This knife is really good for a lot of just basic tasks. It's got a very slight belly, but it's great for cutting through things. Camp food prep, a lot of things you cut with this kind of thing. Cucumbers, carrots, a lot of other things. Anything longer, you're going to want a longer knife to slice into stuff, but there's a lot of uses for this. We've got sort of a clip point with a swedge and, nice straight edge, nice high flat grind. I'm going to call this a full flat grind, even though there is a section all the way up to where my thumbnail is here. That's flat. So both of these knives can be held in a clamping system very well for sharpening. So that's a good thing. The handle is chamfered on the sides with a negative radius in there. And the knife blade, the metal of the knife sticks out of the G10 a little bit. Same thing on this one. So very similar in a lot of ways. And it's chamfered all the way along, both of them back there. So quite comfortable. The handle scales can come off on both of these. Torx 8 screwdrivers. I'll show you what it looks like with the handles taken off. Well, after 20 minutes and boiling water and a number of other procedures, and even with drive grip, I was unable to get this out. It's close to being stripped, not quite stripped yet. This is how they're made. They've got a center pin, and then it screws in on both sides. And they decided to use a Loctite in there that is very robust. And I'm not going to defeat it, but you can see these holes in here to help balance the knife. Like I said, it was balanced right there, and this guy's got no skeletonizing. So, Kubey, if you're listening, please don't use all that Loctite in these things. It's overkill. Sometimes people like to swap out their handle scales, and you're forcing them to destroy these screws. These aren't that expensive to buy another set of these at a lot of knife supply stores in Canada. There's one here actually near me in Sundre. And I'll give you a link for it close to where I live. But they ship all over Canada and all over the place. Or something Knife USA, Knife Supply USA, something like that. I forget what the name is, but I'll put a link for that down below as well. And you can buy these. So if you do want to swap these out or take it apart for some reason, that can be overcome. But this was a challenge, and this was impossible. Even with a product like this, I do recommend you get drive grip if you can. If you're in Canada, these, or anywhere outside the United States, this is actually fairly expensive. But I've got some samples that I'd love to give away. All you have to do is pay for shipping. Send me an email at CanadianCuttingEdge@gmail.com, and I'll send you one of these. Since the package might be more than 2 centimeters thick, it could easily cost $10 to ship this. Unfortunately, just the way Canada shipping works, it's just crazy. If I squeezed this down a little bit and got it under 2 centimeters thick, if the entire package is under 2 centimeters thick, then the shipping would be $4 or $5, something like that. Anyhow, or I'll ship to other countries as well if you want. No problem like this. And I'll give you samples of VC3 as well, which is what I would recommend for the thread instead of thread locker. VC3 is by the same company, VIBRA-TITE, and they make a thread locker replacement, which actually holds screws very well, especially small screws. And you can take the screws on and reuse them again, 6, 7, 8 times before you have to replace that material instead of a thread locker, which is a one-use only kind of system. So let's get back to the rest of the video. You don't really have a balance point on this guy, but on this guy, the balance point is right where you want it to be. So that's a good thing. What are some extra things? Let's talk about the sharpener's choil. The sharpener's choil on the 148, perfect. It comes out just past the plunge right there. So it's got a radiused plunge. If you saw a close-up picture of this section, maybe I'll take one. It curves in, and when it gets to the standard thickness that goes all the way along, that's when the cutting edge starts. So you can sharpen it right to the end and keep everything looking very nice. This guy wasn't done quite as well. If you call this a sharpener's toil, it didn't go far enough. So you see some of the plunge left right there. So then we've got an odd edge right here. So I might take this to my grinder in my shop at home and just grind that off a little bit so there's no heel to the blade, or at least no thick heel on the blade. So it's just the standard thickness right along that plunge line. But it also has that sort of radiused plunge in there. So that's one of the few cons about this thing, just a slight error in how they ground this. That's a very nitpicky thing because it doesn't affect how well you can cut with this knife at all. Nice, very sturdy point here. If you do need to do tip work, same thing on here, but this one's even thicker behind the tip. Very, very strong tip, partially because of this thick tang. Odd thing about this knife is it sort of has a Western North American Tanto style grind. So a little bit of a curve here on the belly, and then there's a transition point right there, and then it goes almost straight. I'll give you a close-up of this spot. Now the thing is, since that is such a very, how do I say it? It's not very distinct at all, this transition. I think the first time I sharpen this knife, I'm going to sharpen it just to have a normal belly. I'm not going to try to maintain that point. I don't think it's worth it for the knife. It won't change how well it'll perform. Sorry, I'll say it a different way. It won't perform better if I maintain this point. It'll work just as well if I just let it become a normal belly on a blade. And so that's what I'm going to do, but I won't be sharpening it for a while because this puppy's sharp from the factory. I'll probably be stropping it for a while and things like that, but it just won't need sharpening. So there you go. This guy, I am going to sharpen it up because it didn't perform quite as well at 135 grams of pressure to cut through materials, although 135 is still very sharp, very high. Couple little decorative things. I talked about this here. This one's got this hole and then this elongated, almost a fuller kind of effect. They're nice knives. I like both of these knives quite a lot. They're very comfortable. There's quite a variety of uses. This one is a little bit more fantasy-esque, and as such, I generally don't prefer fantasy-style knives. But this one's still got functionality. It still is a knife that is very usable. And so I'm not quite calling this a fantasy knife. And since it's got that lower weight of, just 99 grams, just over 3.5 ounces, this is a comfortable neck knife, and that's generally how I carry it. I added this paracord and then a breakaway snap on the end here that I got from Amazon. And so I can carry it like this, and if it does snag on something, it'll just break away. And, the lanyard can get comfortable if I wrap it between my fingers to be able to have a good hold of it, or just leave it back there, however a guy wants to use it, or a gal for that matter, no problem. It's a nice knife, and let's talk about the prices. This guy is a little bit less money. What do we have here? We can get it for $29.99 US, or more, of course. And Amazon Canada has it for $38.99. So that might be the easiest way to get it, but Amazon.com will probably ship this knife to Canada. And being fixed blades, Canadians, you've got no concern about this being stopped at the border. It'll get through because it's considered 100% legal by everybody, including our CBSA friends. Both knives are fine that way. This guy, what's the price? Well, the price is $38.99 up to, and plus, or on Amazon Canada, $52.99. So these are still budget knives. I haven't said yet, this guy comes only in this color combination, this red G10 with a black layer on top. This one comes in black or in a tan color, or in a green color G10. So you've got all those options. For some reason, some of the different colors of G10 have different prices. I'm not sure if both of these are on White Mountain knives off the top of my head. I think this one is for sure. They might be out of stock. I don't know. But I've got links down below. If you can find them at White Mountain Knives, you can get 10% off using coupon code CCE at checkout. That's actually for anything at White Mountain Knives, for that matter. So whenever you shop at White Mountain Knives, please consider using my coupon code. I won't get a kickback or anything, at least not directly. I'll continue to get good deals from Justin for knives that I can review. And I got this one directly from Kubey, and I don't know why it's not listed anymore. Unfortunately, that was like a month ago or so. And I'll have to contact them again to see if they're going to stock this in the Kubey knife store or not. But internationally, there's globalknife.com. I think that's the address where you can get both of these. And in North America, Amazon has these, and some other Amazons have them too. All those links will be down below. Let's go over the pros generally, and the pros generally are the same for both of these. They are well made, well built, comfortable. They have a secure grip, and many different grips are comfortable, except for this guy. It's pretty much only like this that you can use it comfortably. You can try a reverse grip, but how would you use it for that? I don't know. This is more of a knife for press cutting instead of slice cutting, and tip work. And this knife, of course, you can use whichever way you want, for cutting things, not a problem. Sharpener's toil's done perfect on this and okay on this one. And just general grind, general detail work is good on these. I really, really like the results that I'm getting. Kubey as a brand is a brand that I totally recommend, no problem at all. What are the cons on these things? And the cons are basically the same on both of these, and it's decisions like this one. The decision to make this little transition point seems off to me. It seems odd. If they wanted it there, I would have liked them to make a consistent grind here, and then also have a transition point right here where the blade, starts getting thinner right away. But this blade doesn't start getting thinner until you get to about here, right where my thumb is now, instead of here where this ends. It very, very slightly gets thinner here, but very, very tiny bit. So like a traditional Tanto, if there's a transition line here, then I'd want to maintain this point. But since there isn't, that doesn't make sense to me. And on this one, the decision that doesn't make sense to me, well, there isn't no decision. It's just this work that they did right here. So there's very, very few cons here. Everything's well done. Well, not everything. Almost everything's very well done. This would be nice if it came in more color options, like this does. At the end of October, the beginning of November, if the Patreon winner, and I have a Patreon supporter chosen at random at the end of every month to take one of the knives, I give them one of the knives that I reviewed in the previous month. If they don't choose either of these, I'd be more than happy to sell these to you, no matter where you live. I just charge you, well, every knife that I sell, I charge 85% of retail, plus I give my custom sharpening edge, and you have to pay for shipping, however much that is to wherever you live. That being said, I like these knives, but I do need to have money keep coming in so I can keep getting more knives to review, and I don't need a collection of 500 knives. I have over 100 knives right now, and I'd be happy to see probably 95% of them go, and there you go. If you are new to Canadian Cutting Edge, please consider subscribing, sharing this channel, hit that bell button when you subscribe so you'll be notified of videos. Those of you who have been concerned about my health, I just was at the doctor again today. Things are making a turn for the better for me, and that's a good thing, although I still have lots of challenges. So thank you for your concern. Thank you for those of you who've been praying for me. I appreciate it. And for everyone else, when you've got a knife in your hand, remember, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb, or you'll have a bleeding thumb. Bye for now.